Good day, I am Dr. Varalakshmi Chandra Sekaran, faculty with the Department of Community Medicine, Melaka Manipal Medical College, Mahe, Manipal. My topic of presentation today is Adolescent Leisure Activities and Parent-Adolescent Bonding, a Photovoice exploration. In introducing the topic, literature in recent years has emphasized the role of the family in shaping an adolescent's behavior. Bronfenbrenner described the micro, meso, and macro systems to explore familial, societal, and cultural interactions in shaping adolescents' behaviors. Literature also shows that the adolescent's choice of leisure activities, parental bonding, and his or her psychological well-being may very well be interlinked. Now, when we look at leisure activities, they may be described as either constructive or non-constructive ones. Constructive leisure activities include involving the adolescent in some activities which require for them to spend some amount of time and also to acquire some skills. For example, it may be learning music or art or volunteering at an NGO or playing sports. While non-constructive activities may include watching television for long periods of time or browsing the internet over extended periods of time. So in our study, we explored adolescent leisure activities and how parent-adolescent bonding may be linked to this. The methodology: ethics clearance was obtained from the Manipal University Ethics Committee, parents' consent, adolescents' assent, and photography release forms were obtained from the participants. We used purposive sampling method, and adolescents who had lived with either parent in a family setting over the past 3 months were included in the study. Adolescents who had not lived with any one of their parents over the past 3 months were excluded. And results from 24 interviews with 10 families, which included dyads of 14 parents and 10 adolescents aged between 14 to 19 years from Udupi Taluk in southern India, are presented. Regarding the Photovoice methodology, this is a qualitative, community-based participatory method where the methodology includes involving photography as well as narratives that are built around these photographs. The Photovoice methodology was firstly explained to the participants in their own homes, whom we met during the evenings or on holidays because they are mostly school going, and they were instructed that they needed to take photographs of their leisure activities. This need not include their faces so that their confidentiality could be maintained if they are not comfortable with it. And so they were instructed to provide about 10 to 15 photographs and caption them when they submit. They were also instructed to maintain a journal during this period of time where they could record their daily activities involving leisure. So this was maintained for a period of 1 week. Following this, the photos were obtained from the adolescents, and based on their preferred time, we conducted one-on-one interviews and did in-depth interviews using the photographs as prompts. Finally, thematic analysis was done from the data that was collected with the interviews as well as the journal. So the participants were interviewed using the showed prompt. The showed prompt is where we use the photographs as a means of deriving data, where we ask questions on what do you see here? What's really happening here? How does this relate to our lives? And why does this problem or strength exist? And what can we do about it? So the adolescents expressed themselves very well during these interviews. Thematic analysis was then done, and the data collection spanned between July 2017 to June 2018. When we look at the results, we had data from both urban and rural areas. We had a range of ages of the adolescents from 14 to 19 years. And so we were able to explore a wide range of expressions about their leisure activities and their bonding with their parents. So when we asked about their leisure activities, one of the adolescents here, she was 16 years old, very involved in music and dancing, and she said, I like it better when I am cooking and listening to music. There's also this ballroom dancing. I actually like it better than cooking and listening to music. It's a kind of a fun kind of hangout. So we found that female adolescents in comparison with the male adolescents, generally involved in activities which were more traditional, for example, cooking or involving in music or dance, which are traditionally activities that they involve in. There were some adolescents who did involve in sports activities, but they were fewer in number. Here's another picture of a 16-year-old female participant who gave us a picture of her anklets that she uses during Yakshagana performance. So she says, in my family, a number of people do Yakshagana. So because of that, I'm interested more. My father supports me a lot to do Yakshagana, and he also does Yakshagana. So her interest in Yakshagana increased because of her father's interest in it. As a child, she mentioned that she would go observe her father practicing, and she developed an interest, and so her father and herself both would go for the practice sessions. And it was interesting because we found that the adolescents who were involved with their parents in these activities had a much better bonding with their parents, and also they were more psychologically well adjusted with peers. They were also doing very well academically. Here's a male participant, 18 years old, and he mentioned that basketball was something that was very, very important to him. And he says, basketball I've been playing from 7 to 8 years now. It's a daily routine. I have to go every day, or at least work out every day. So doing physical activities like sports was very, very important to the boys. Another interesting thing that they generally involved in was going out with their friends, exploring new places, visiting new places, or even going out to restaurants. And so that's how they built their peer groups, and they bonded with their peer groups as well. So here's a 17-year-old male adolescent. He was from a rural area, and he was very much involved in sports activities. He was also taught many activities by his father, and he had a very good relationship with his parents. Now this particular boy was a single child, and he had a very good relationship with his parents, very supportive family environment. So he says, my dad taught me all of this. He taught me how to play badminton, chess, and other sports. When I was younger, mother also would guide me. I'm also interested in shooting air gun. So in this manner, we found that most of the fathers were involved in the physical activities with their sons or their daughters. Mothers generally, as the adolescent grew older, tended to be less involved, although they were much more involved in their younger years. These were some of our main findings. So in concluding, the findings of our study showed that the adolescents in urban and rural Udupi engage in largely constructive leisure activities. There were non-constructive leisure activities also that they engaged in, such as watching television or using the internet, but this was restricted. Especially among the girls, they did not have their own cell phones till they went into college, about 18-19 years. So there was a lot of restriction that was seen. So they were more involved in more constructive activities. So they were largely engaged in such constructive leisure activities. And most parents also encourage their children to spend time with them during meal times, which I found was a great way to bond with the adolescents. So in families where adolescents shared leisure activities with their single parent or both parents, the communication with the parents was much better. Bonding also improved. We also saw that the mother's involvement in leisure activities reduced as adolescents grew older. Overall, we found that involved parenting with shared activities with their adolescents may provide foundations for open routes of communication with the growing adolescent and may be key in improving outcomes among them. In coming to my conclusion, I would like to acknowledge that the funding was provided by the Transdisciplinary Center for Qualitative Methods, and these are my references. Thank you.